Hey, you! Are you a curious person and a music lover just like me? Well, if the answer is yes, this is your podcast. Hi, I'm Ramon Mañas, I'm the travel sax creator, and welcome to Blowing in the Wind, the place to get inspired throughout music and innovation. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 13 of our podcast Blowing in the Wind. Today I have the honor of interviewing Augie Bello. He's 25 years old, just 25 years old, and he's an amazing sax player, clarinet player, pianist, singer, songwriter, producer. He's just an amazing dude. I've been following him on Instagram for more than 3 years already. I love what he does, and I just contact him and say, hey, I would like to interview you, and he said yes. So I hope you like the interview. I did had an amazing time. So let's start.
I'd like a real large pizza with pepperoni on it. Put some pepperoni on it. Put some pepperoni on it.
Augie Bello. Good morning for you. Good afternoon for me.
So, you can't say we're doing this at 11 a.m., which is a musician's 5 a.m.
Exactly. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time. It's not been easy, I have to say, to close the the podcast interview. This guy is so busy. But that's good, I guess. That's really good. So we are hearing, right, Pepperoni Pizza, one of our one of your singles, right? Yeah. Amazing. So I'm just gonna leave it on the background because I wanna talk about all your background, right? The history. So I want to start from the start, from the beginning. Who's Augie Bello for those of our audience that do not know you? Can you present yourself, please, a bit?
Yeah. So I would say for right now, Augie Bello is producer, songwriter, saxophonist, and singer. But the whole story is basically when I was 4 years old, my sister had started taking piano lessons, and I loved that she could go into the living room, play the worst rendition of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and the whole family would come around and get super excited and be really like, it would bring everyone together, and then it would be like this happy, exciting moment. And as soon as I saw that, like, that was the first epiphany for me, that like music, like, I want to be able to try to do this, and I want to learn how to have that like superpower almost. So at age 4, I begged my mom to get me piano lessons, and I took piano lessons from like age 4 to 17, but at age age 6 or age 7, my grandpa used to play the saxophone, and he had his own wedding band and put himself through college through playing the saxophone through the wedding band that he created. And I was always super inspired by him. So at age 7, I was like, I want to try the saxophone. And he told me, like, don't do the saxophone yet. Learn the clarinet first, because they saw, like, from a young age that, like, this was like a huge passion within me. So my grandpa was thinking, like, okay, like, he might be 7, but let's say this is his full career. What are job opportunities and what are careers that he could do. And the biggest, most stable job opportunity that you could think of is a Broadway musician
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
play in a Broadway pit. So he was like, you're going to need to be able to double. You need to play the clarinet,
Mm-hmm.
the saxophone, the flute,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can play a full book.
Mm-hmm.
So at age 7, I started taking clarinet lessons, and I played it up until now. I still play clarinet. Um, and then finally at age 11, um, I started to take saxophone lessons. And with the saxophone, I always gravitated towards it because um, the thing that I loved about the saxophone was two things. One, the fact that when I was playing in a jazz band at school, or yeah, when I was playing in jazz band at school,
Mm-hmm.
there was a tenor 1 book and a tenor 2 book. If tenor 2 does not show up to the concert, or tenor 1 does not show up to the concert, the music is different.
Mm-hmm.
If tenor 1 doesn't show up to the concert and there's a tenor solo, now there's no tenor solo, that part's missing.
Yeah.
And that felt way more important to me than going to, like, I did play in a lot of concert bands growing up. I played a lot of clarinet. And it was just like, this is a crazy thing to say, but like I always had the mindset of like, if something happened to me right before this big concert band concert,
Mm-hmm.
if I got run over by a bus,
Yeah.
this concert would play exactly the same. The audience would love it, and they'd all go home not questioning anything that happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like, man, I really want to be, I really want to feel more like I'm more important to that music. So with the saxophone, there was like this excitement of like, I'm really valuable in this group. And then 2 is I get to create something on the spot that like comes from within and comes from my knowledge that I've put together. So I really gravitated towards the saxophone as soon as I started. And at first it was the alto sax when I was 11. And then when I was 16, I think I started
Mm-hmm.
playing the tenor
Mm-hmm.
saxophone. Um, and yeah, and then later on in college, I started to do more voice lessons because a lot of the music that I love is pop music,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always had a desire to basically add saxophone to pop music, but
Yeah.
also create the pop music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
that's kind of yeah.
Do you have anyone from your family that are professional musicians, or just like something that?
Um, yeah, so my sister got a music degree.
Okay.
She's an incredible opera singer, piano player, and violinist.
Okay.
Violinist. But she, after some time doing her degree, she was like, you know what, like I want to try something different. So she actually got a pharmacy degree, and she's a doctor now.
Oh
She's a
wow.
pharmacist. Yeah, so she was on track to do it. Um, but like there's with the music career, there's a lot of self motivation that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, she was like, you know, like I would prefer something more stable that like is you know, um, and she's a genius, so
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she could do
She could
like
do
pharmacy and
anything.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know, so she's really
Nice.
really lucky and smart. So yeah, but
Nice.
no one else. My grandpa did it going before college. Like he was always great at the saxophone. Not not always great, but he was great at the saxophone and created his own band. But no one in my family has pursued it professionally
Mm-hmm.
except
Mm-hmm.
for me.
And your parents, nothing to do with music at all.
My mom, I think, could have, but she was never pushed
Yeah.
like hard into it. So
Mm-hmm.
like she did, I think she did take some um voice lessons and a little bit of piano and
Mm-hmm.
maybe some clarinet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like never really stuck into it. And my dad, his music story is really funny. He really wanted to be a drummer,
Okay.
and his parents finally said, okay, we'll buy you drumsticks. And at the church, I think at the church or something, he was playing a snare drum, and and I think he was making too much noise, so the priest or someone took the drumsticks and put them somewhere else.
Oh.
And then in church, someone stole his drumsticks.
Oh
Drumsticks.
no.
So someone at church stole his drumsticks, and that ended his
Oh
music. That was
no.
it.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's their music story.
Oh wow, amazing.
Yeah,
So then I assume that since very since right since you were a kid, you've been attracted by the power of music,
yeah,
motivated right by your um, part of your family, but more in yeah, basically your sister, right? And
yeah,
and then when did you decided that okay, I'm gonna go professional because this is a decision, right? That
yeah,
you took. Did you had any plan B? I mean, or
yeah, yeah. These are great questions. These are great questions. So when I all growing up, I was like, you can look at every yearbook from elementary school. The future occupation is like musical artist.
hmm
So like my mind was set on it for a long time. So I when I was in high school, I applied to only music conservatories, and I got into the New School for Jazz.
hmm
And so my first year of going to New School, I was in a group, like a duo with a singer, and we were creating lots of videos, and I had a enjoyment for creating those videos. Um, but I discovered like pretty soon on, like I want to be self-sufficient.
hmm
I want to say like today I want to make a video, and there's no other factor that's going to stop me. So while I was enjoying doing those videos, I also was like, maybe I should be also focusing on myself,
hmm
like these two projects. And going into my sophomore year of college, I had two things that really motivated me to like at that point, once I was already in college, it was like this is what I'm going to do professionally.
hmm hmm
Um, but going into college, there's kind of like a I think every musician kind of has like this pending doom of like I have these 4 years and then what?
hmm
And I was super, super, super conscious of that. Like my first year, I worked a lot with the singer, and we created a lot of videos, and we grew a little bit. And then my second year, one of my friends, her name's Tiana O'Hara.
hmm
She's this amazing guitar player. She had dropped out, and she was posting her guitar videos. She went back to LA. She's posting her guitar videos, and I just remember like she went up to like 22,000 followers or something. And then a week later, I see her touring with this big artist, Queen Naija. And
hmm
so I was like, man, like if I can stay in school, like there are parts of music school that are like, there's a lot of free time, and a lot of people do this thing where they're like, oh, I'm going to do my schoolwork. And then once I've done my schoolwork, I'm like free to like just chill and have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And my dad really, I thank him a lot for this.
hmm
But he was like the real voice
hmm
that I really needed because he would always say like, I see you have such passion for this. I see that you're pushing forward in it, but like, where's the passion to like create the career and
Yeah.
what is that, you know? So it was like a fire. It lit a fire under me. So that year, so February of 2018, I was like, I'm gonna post first. At first, I was like, I'm gonna post to Instagram every day. Like, I need to like grow this thing, and I got burnt out so quickly. Um, and then basically, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it like consistently 3 times a week and just push forward. And I remember that first year, like in school, um, people, I had like good friends, but like a lot of people kind of laughed at me as like, oh, you're Augie, like the Instagram guy. You're calling me
Oh,
the Instagram guy because I'm posting a lot and it's not going anywhere, you know?
uh,
And I had a lot of that, like people being like, oh, oh yeah,
at
Augie's the
school.
Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
at
Okay.
school. So it was super like, again, the way I tried to spin it, because it was like frustrating to me because it's they're like discrediting you and you don't have a hill to stand on.
Hmm.
I didn't have this big following that I could be like, you know.
Yeah.
So I basically ignored a lot of these people and just continued pushing forward. And I think in the first year I went up like eight 8,000 followers.
Hmm.
And so I was around like 9,000 followers. And then that next
It's much.
year I
It's
started to
much more than our Instagram, and we've been around for 4 years already. So I know
yeah,
it's super
it's
difficult.
tough.
It's tough. It's really tough.
It's tough.
Hmm.
Um, and basically, then that next year, like I started to do some more like comedy focused videos with the saxophone. So I would do what that song "Pepperoni Pizza," what it's
I love
based
it,
on, is a
dude.
video.
Yeah. I have
Thank
some.
you.
Let me do a parenthesis here because I want to play one that I really like that I had prepared
Yes.
here. Well, I have many questions for you, but uh,
Yes.
there's this one, for example.
Yeah, it's Barbara. So I got the all-new Macintosh Apple Pro Mac. Yeah, I traded it for my microflash in Washington Square Park.
Genius. I love it, dude. And then the amazing solo. I really like it. I mean, it's a great combination because
Thank you.
we'll get into all these things, but because I think
Yes.
it's genius because you're basically mixing nice solo, right, for people that really
Yeah.
like the music and really value this, but at the same
Yeah.
time you're creating a parody comedy, right, for those
Uh-huh.
of that they don't really care that much about the solo sax, but they
Yeah.
just want to share it, right, and that's really
Exactly.
what makes it viral. I think that what's had more than uh, like I don't know, like 150,000 likes or something like
Thank you.
that's crazy, right?
Thank you. That was exactly like the mindset with those
Okay.
telephone videos, which I might end up doing them again because they were fun. But the mindset was like every person in this world, everyone in the world likes to laugh.
Exactly.
Everyone, if they can laugh, they feel good.
Indeed.
Now, what is not something that everyone in this world wants to watch is someone playing the saxophone on Instagram.
Yeah.
It is what
Exactly.
it is.
Yeah.
There are tons of people who do, and to access that audience is amazing. But I was like, okay, well, let me try to grab those people who want to laugh
Yeah.
and show them something that they would never click on, which is me playing the saxophone.
Hmm.
And a lot of the times they'd hang around and they'd see the saxophone. And if not, I still created something entertaining for them and they went on with their day and smiled. Like my goal has always been like to make some one person smile throughout the day. And if I could do that, then that was like a worthwhile day. And then hopefully they'll, take that happiness and kind of spread it. So
Hmm.
that was the goal, which was
Well,
fun for a long time.
I think when I've been following you for quite a lot. I think at least 2 or 3 years, and I think I remember like the first time I saw a video of you in Instagram was one of those. And I said, "Oh, good! I love this guy," And I started following
Thank
because
you.
of this, because it was
Thank you.
fun and at the same time it was really nice musically. So I really like
Thank you.
and enjoyed. Sorry, I cut you
Thank you.
like the story that you were. Uh,
No,
so you
no, no,
basically
no.
were on right on the high school, no on uni,
In college.
college,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
you go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry that I was.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, thank you for supporting me for so long. It really means a lot. Because to put it in perspective, uh, like sometimes the numbers don't feel like real people until you
Totally.
talk to somebody,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
So that means a lot to me. But basically third, my second year into posting on Instagram, that's when I started doing these telephone videos, and I gained a lot of traction with those, for the reasons that we just spoke about. Um, and then basically I had a video that went pretty viral, which was me like playing saxophone over this guy, this preacher in the park
Oh
who
yeah,
was
I
screaming
saw
at,
that one.
yeah,
They were saying
yeah,
something about right, homosexuals, and they were
yes,
like fuck them. No,
exactly.
everyone was like
Yeah,
screaming at this guy, and then you were
yeah.
just playing around.
So yeah, this guy basically
Fuck
brought
me.
a microphone and a speaker to a park in New York City, and he kept going on and on about like all gay people will burn in hell and
My
a whole
God,
fire
man,
and blah blah
like
blah.
fuck
And I
me.
was just like, oh man, like he has the freedom of speech and I have the freedom of sax,
Yeah.
America. So I started playing the sax with my friend, and I also had this electric bike. And so while I'm playing the saxophone, you start to see like people are like talking to the guy, but more and more you can't hear what he's saying, and you just hear the
Exactly.
saxophone, and he's
Exactly.
arguing with people. And then I started riding the bike while playing the saxophone around him, and that video like really took off. It
Yeah.
it went to like a bunch of news. So that video did well, which helped me grow a bunch. I think I went up to like 50 something thousand.
Hmm.
But what's really important to know is like after then, so that's October of 2019.
Hmm.
After then, I kept growing to around like 60,000 followers, I think.
Hmm.
COVID hits, and I have a full year of losing followers.
Hmm. Oh
Nothing
wow.
but loss. Yeah,
Okay.
I am posting this consistently. I'm like working on music, and nothing's doing well. Like
Oh
I
wow.
can't do anything that people care about. Um, so that whole year was kind of like top. Like you can say like, oh, I've gained these followers, and but like to be working towards growing and actively losing. I remember like one of my friends congratulated me on hitting 60,000 followers, and then I was down to like 56 or something thousand, and I was like, damn, like my goal is always, the next milestone. Okay, 60,000. Now my goal's 70,000.
Hmm. Hmm.
And now I have to hit the first goal that I had
Yeah.
again. So that whole year was like, what am I doing wrong and how do I revamp it? And then as soon as COVID started to lift, I started to go out in New York City and kind of street perform and busk a bit more. And I was doing a lot of solos over popular music,
Hmm.
and a couple of those solos like really, 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 really took off. The biggest one being I did a solo over Outkast's Miss Jackson. And the funny thing is, here's like yeah, of course.
No, no, I have one of the solos that I really like that, and I want to ask.
Yes,
Just let me put one.
of course. Yes, yes.
So let me.
Yes.
That's the. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you were playing an alto here,
Yeah.
an alto saxophone, and you normally play the tenor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have many solos that that you play on top of, right, of
Yeah.
known songs. And that's
Uh-huh.
something that I wanted to ask. You also
Yes.
have your own book, right?
Yes.
With these solos that
Yes.
people can buy
Um,
and learn.
yeah. So I basically was like, man, like if people love these solos so much, why don't I transcribe them and
Hmm.
like, make them accessible for people?
Hmm.
Um, so I did that a while ago. I do want to make more PDFs because man, I'm doing like I haven't done them in a while, but or I guess I have done a couple recently. Um, but yeah, I wanted to make a transcription book of just some of those like most viewed moments,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Um, because that's also been like I think in the past 2 years, like that was one of my biggest content styles, and still does do like the best. That along with these live in the park performances.
Hmm.
Um, but it's always funny to me because like I can have a performance on a stage where like sax wise, like what I'm playing is I'm happy with it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I can have the same thing where I'm playing something in the park, Washington Square Park, or in the subway,
Hmm.
and people eat it up way more. They love like seeing someone on the street or
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
subway,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
doing the thing, you know.
Because
So
it's real, Like I think
yeah,
this truthness of street
yeah,
performance. I
yeah,
mean, you can do like as many takes as you want to get the solo that you
yeah,
like, right? But you
yes,
just have one on the park,
that's right.
right? So I think that's
That's right.
the magic of live music, right? And I think
You're right.
it really engages with the audience when
Yeah,
with the performance.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And the funny thing about those videos is one of the first ones that did well was me playing over Miss Jackson.
Hmm.
Me playing over Miss Jackson. I first posted it to Instagram. It did okay. I posted it to TikTok. It didn't do well at all.
Okay.
Um, and then uh, around like 3 or 4 months later, I was scrolling through my videos and I was like, man, this video was good. Like I liked what I played on
Yeah.
this video. Why did it not do well? And I posted it to TikTok that night, and then like it blew up. It I that night I went up like 100,000 followers,
Wow.
and the video started getting used a ton by like all these influencers and this and that and that.
Hmm.
So then it took off, but it was like the important thing also with the social media and with the whole career is like if you believe in something, you have to keep pushing at it and showing people like this is great, like come on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to like nudge them a little bit and be like come on, like look at this,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so that worked out later on, which was fun.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice.
So yeah.
Um, what would be something music related, for example, that you would really like to learn? Let's say an instrument or something, a skill, something that's
Yeah.
on your pending list or to-do list. What would
Yeah.
be one or the most important one for you?
I think the guitar. I
Okay.
mean, I love popular music, and the fact that I can't play the guitar bothers me. But obviously, it hasn't bothered me enough to learn it. So,
Exactly. Okay.
um, but I have spent some time, a
Hmm.
little bit, so I can
Hmm.
play like a
Hmm.
little guitar.
Nice.
Um, but yeah,
Nice.
that's what I would say. Thank you.
So basically, right now you are playing the piano, the
Yeah.
clarinet,
Uh-huh.
of course, saxophone.
Yeah.
Any other instruments?
Just singing too, and
Of course, yeah.
that's really the main ones for now.
Hmm.
Like there are some other instruments, like I've done some videos where I play a little bass, and then I have played a little drums, but I wouldn't say those like I can get by, sure.
if you would, if you wouldn't had the opportunity of, let's say tomorrow, okay, someone says the music is banned, right? There's no
Yeah.
more music on your life. What would you do?
Uh-huh. Probably acting, comedy, entertainment, like that
Okay.
world. Because I do love, like, if I can make people laugh in a moment, I love that. Like that almost gives me the same, not to the full extent, but it's the same release of like people together, people smiling, people laughing, people having fun, people feeling an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd probably just try to push in comedy, I guess.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. I think you're already doing it. That no, mixing the music with, in
Yeah.
some cases comedy too. I really,
Yeah.
and I think you do it great. So I think you should keep
Thank you.
going on that direction. Also, it makes you
Thank
very unique as an artist. Um,
thank you.
so you said you went to college, right? To
Yeah.
and suddenly you know you suddenly get related with many musicians.
Yeah.
I guess many of them are just amazing. And
Uh-huh.
what's the feeling of entering into this kind of environment? Because I've been there
Yeah.
also, and how how did you cope with this?
Yeah. So it's funny. The first week at new school, they put everyone in groups with all the like all the freshmen. They put us all in groups, and then they did a listening session,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically every group is gonna play a standard or two, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's gonna solo, everyone's gonna do their thing, and we're all gonna watch.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like two things. There's one, man, I'm gonna have to see how good everyone is, and B, everyone's gonna have to see, where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the super vulnerable moment, and I remember sitting at that first listening session, being like, "Damn, everyone is so amazing." There was Morgan Guerin.
Mm-hmm.
He's the saxophone player. If you don't know of Morgan, Morgan is like a musical beast. He's
Mm-hmm.
in there on tenor saxophone. He plays drums better than everybody in the school. He's not there for drums.
Yeah.
He's better than everyone on the drums. He's better than everyone at the bass. He plays the hell out of the piano and the iwi, and he's playing, and everyone's like
What?
blown away. Like he's one of these scary, scary, like the nicest guy in the world, like the
Mm-hmm.
greatest person. And playing for Esperanza right now, I believe, on tour.
Esperanza
Um,
Spalding?
but yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
you got to check out Morgan. He'd be a
Morgan
great person.
to
Morgan
interview?
Guerin. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna
Yes.
take note.
Yes. It's Guerin. He's amazing. But there was Sasha Berliner, this amazing vibes player.
Mm-hmm.
There was all these just amazing, amazing musicians. And I just remember being like, damn, I really got to like work and practice. But what I didn't feel immediately and I felt later on is like, we are not replaceable. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Morgan's great at, there's no shot in hell I can do it. I can't do what he does. He could probably do what I do though, to be honest. But like there are elements that like I do that he wouldn't. Technically, he could do everything I do
Yeah.
for sure. But like, would he do it? Like the way that he thinks about music is not the way I think about music, and it's not the way Sasha or any of these people think about music. So what I felt later on was like, it's so special to see that like, yes, there are different technical abilities and there are different ways of conveying a solo and a story, but we are all like, if you want Morgan's sound on an album, you're not going to hire me and get it.
Exactly.
And if you want my sound on an album, you're not going to hire Morgan and get it. So it's kind of like we're all in this boat together. We're all trying to do our thing and all trying to show, it was exciting, I would say. But there were times where I was like, damn, like I am the small fish in this massive pond.
Massive fun, yeah.
And yeah. The other thing was like the things I gravitated towards, not as many, especially not any sax players, but like not as many people gravitated towards at the new school. Like I wanted to do funk, hip hop, pop. Um, I had knowledge of jazz, um, but I the music I always loved was I did love jazz. I still do love some jazz, but I've always loved pop and hip hop and I've always heard the sax fitting in there.
Yeah.
So I was always pushing forward in a direction that was like as we were all in school together, 90% are pushing like towards the traditional like jazz, bebop, and I'm like slowly like pulling away from that because while it's good to know the tradition and while it's good to learn from the tradition, I just didn't I wanted to create something that was new.
Hmm.
And using those traditions and using those things that, you know, made jazz the incredible thing it is, I want to use all those things that I had learned and the research and practicing I'd done in a way that I would love and hopefully people would attach to that because that's the realest thing to do is you can't try to, you know, oh, all my classmates are doing jazz and all this bebop, so I have to try to tell that story. Well, no, if I don't feel like that story is within me, then it's not going to come across very great. So I started to do more. I just pushed harder into the pop and
Mm-hmm.
jazz,
Mm-hmm.
the pop, funk, hip hop world. Um, and yeah,
I think you're doing great. So, how old are you right now?
thank you.
Okay.
25.
25. Yes, super
Yeah.
young. That's great. That's
Thank you.
great.
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to know the story about a video that you posted that was
Yes.
fun to me too. Um, I'm just gonna play it, okay? You cannot see it, but I guess you will know
Hmm.
it, and then you say, uh, you explains the story, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me see if I can find it here.
No worries.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Again, now. Do you know which video I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know exactly which video you're talking about. This was like still when my TikTok was like was doing pretty well. I basically I'd been following Casey Abrams, that bass player and singer for I don't know, as soon as he had TikTok and Instagram
This
because
this
I was a
guy's
fan of his.
is amazing. Yeah, I also
He's
follow him. Yeah, it's really good.
he's so incredible.
Yeah.
But I remember being like I don't know, 12 or something
Mhm.
and watching American Idol
Yeah.
and him being there with Haley Reinhart. So I'd always been like keeping up on what he was doing. And one day I saw him post that to TikTok. Basically, he saw the video of this groovy dryer, and he played the bass over it. And I was like, seeing everyone like do their thing over it. So I was like, all right, like let me add something to it. Um, and basically that video did really well and
Yeah.
continues. It's funny that video continues to do well. Casey posted it a couple months ago, and it got like 2.3 million views on his page. So
It's
people
crazy.
really gravitated towards it. Um, and then basically like Casey and I kept messaging back and forth. Oh, we should really make a full thing. Well, we got to get together, record. He lives in LA. I live in New York. The pandemic is still. I think at that point, like we were just getting vaccines out, so it was like not super realistic unless we just did it
Mm.
virtually. But then basically what happened was he was in New York for like 2 days, and he was like, "Hey, like I can come by for like 4 hours or whatever," and I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And before he came over, I was like, "Man, like Casey's such an amazing singer. Why would you just make this an instrumental thing? I think it could like reach more people, and Casey's voice would be great." So I started writing. I wrote basically a chorus which relates to the dryer, but does it in a way that we're basically talking about a relationship. So you spin me round, what you want can't be found. Make up your mind, because girl, you're running out of time, like the timer on the thing. And then basically Casey came over and we were just bouncing off each other, like one after the other. That song was written and recorded in, I don't know, 3 hours. And then it was just about like flushing out the track. So we put out a full version, which was Spin Me Round, which did pretty well. And then for my EP, I like re-recorded it where I sang vocals, I extended the sax solo, and I got a live drummer on it. So that song has always been fun. It's so fun to perform. Like that's always like the crowd enjoys that one a lot. So, but yeah, I was basically just finding a duet on TikTok that was doing well and trying to add my part to it. And
Nice.
then, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How come have you become so good without the travel sax?
See, I just checked out the travel sax last night.
Yeah, you
It
didn't know.
seems
You didn't
awesome.
know. You didn't know about the travel sax?
Well, now I do. I
Okay.
checked it out last night. I saw your whole I watched a YouTube video that you have, which is showing all the sounds, and
Yeah.
I saw all the chapters. That's great. That looks super, super, super cool.
No, but
Congrats. You're the creator, right?
yeah. Well, me,
That's
but
amazing.
there's a big team also
Of course.
that's been making this possible. Of course, it's not one.
Yeah.
I'm not a one-man show, but yeah,
course.
definitely that the idea was mine, and we've been working crazy to get like
It's
to
amazing.
here. Yeah. No, but that's
Yeah.
good that you don't know about, or you didn't knew about the travel sax. This means that we still have many people to reach, and
Yeah.
it's good. No, but I was just joking. I wanted to ask about your practice routines.
Yeah.
I understand that you're practicing quite a lot, or you have been practicing. So what's your daily routines? How you normally do your
This is gonna be really upsetting. I've been really not practicing a lot. I play just about every day. I'll record. I'm working on music, so when I'm doing that, I'm recording for long amounts of time, right? I'm basically experimenting, and making mistakes, and then those mistakes might sound good, so then rehearsing them over my fingers. But it's really something that I need to like stick my foot deeper in recently, because what happens is, as the career and the passions start to expand, there's a lot of things that you can be working on. So like I write a lot of songs, I record a lot of solos for people, I do a lot of things, and then at the end of the day, like you're accomplishing that goal that you had when you were practicing so much.
yeah.
So I've fallen out of practice, I would say, right now. The thing is, though, practice, yes, I've fallen out of, but like playing, no. Like what I want to do from my previous practice routines, like if I'm on stage, what I want to do and what I hear and what I want to play over my fingers, technically, I feel very equipped to do that. Now, where I'm lacking right now is going beyond that horizon. I've built this whole world. I can tell you about every single building. I put the trains in. I'll tell you which train to take.
Hmm.
But if you want to go like to upstate New York, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really have a route for that. So like I need to hop back in. But also like this is definitely a cop out. So don't ignore this, but I'm still gonna say it. There comes a point where there's some people that do so much research and learn so much that like the thing that your common folk really enjoy and that they can gravitate towards no longer excites you.
Hmm.
There's like a world beyond that.
Yeah.
And there are places for that, like, you know, if you're playing at like a fusion jazz festival or just like a straight ahead thing or, you know, modern jazz. And but I basically never want to get to like I want to be accessible and enjoy what I'm doing. Like I want to make sure like the music I enjoy basically is not difficult to listen to
Mm-hmm.
and not super complicated. So I have the tools. I feel like I've built the tools that I need to convey what I want to convey.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, I do need to work to like there's a lot of times where I'm playing and I'm like, that felt good, but what he was doing, like if I worked harder on like an altered thing or, you know, diminished sounds
Mm-hmm.
over this, um, there's just a place for it. And I feel like that's not typically the place that I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Totally.
but I can tell you what I used to do. There's a couple things which I think are helpful for someone who wants to like figure out kind of what world I'm in. Basically, there's there I was in the very beginning learning a bunch of Charlie Parker solos.
Mm-hmm.
Going through the Omni book, Now's the Time, Ornithology, all that stuff, which gave me like a good foundation for bebop. B um transcribing solos that were super incredible to me. Like there was Michael Brecker on Straff Hanging,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Brecker's Some Skunk Funk, and doing two things. One, obviously writing down all the notes, but making sure to write down all the chords above it
Mm-hmm.
and write down what number of the scale degree is this and why does it sound cool. So sharp 3 over this chord sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And locking that in my brain as like, oh, it's not just G7 and a G minor 7 and a B natural that sounds crunchy and good. It's no, the playing a major 3 over a minor and resolving it to a flat 3
Mm-hmm.
and that sound like trying to think of it more as numbers versus just this note, that chord, because then you can apply it to every chord. So
Exactly.
there was that writing the numbers. And then there was like I would say two other main things. Like a lot of people kind of wonder, like one of the biggest things I did that I don't think a lot of saxophone players do is like if there's a song, a pop song, or yeah, if there's a pop song where the singer, you are loving the way that they're telling the story and the way that they perform the song, why would we not transcribe Whitney Houston? Why wouldn't we
Mm-hmm.
transcribe
Mm-hmm.
Frank Sinatra? And I spent a lot of time like with the track, you play the song, you play the song with the track, and you are super specific on like, okay, she holds out this note, and where does the vibrato kick in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's that moment? Because that's what hits the people as powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time like I love Whitney Houston's music. I love Frank Sinatra. I love Amy Winehouse. I love Alan Stone, Teddy Swims, all these singers who are reaching the masses.
Totally.
What inflections are they doing? So I basically spent a lot of time just listening to that music and trying to emulate a voice. Like if voice is the most listened to thing, then I want to basically be as close to that as possible with my saxophone, because humans, what we hear all day and what we connect with is other human voices. So
Totally.
there was that, and then making sure that once you've practiced and you've done your exercises and your transcriptions and your scales, you need to find the fun in it. I spent 2 hours doing all this thing. Now let me ignore all of that thing, which eventually will go under my fingers, and maybe it's even there now. And I'm just going to play over a track that I think is fun. Because if you remove the fun, there's no release for all the time and effort put in. So making sure not to get lost in like it being such a chore, do those things and work on those things, but to have fun eventually.
Great tips. I think
Yeah.
I think I'm super aligned, or I do agree 100% on what fun, on how important is having fun to really stick. And to, I know that people, right, like professionals always say, yeah, if you wanna practice these things that you really are not good at, or that really you really struggle, and sometimes this is not fun. It's the opposite.
That's right.
But if you can do it and add this spiciness of, you can practice scales, but you can practice scales without the backing track and with a backing track, and you're doing exactly the same exercise, but with a backing track, you're having fun, right? So exactly. I think that's really important. At least I've always tried to go towards that direction, because it really makes the difference, at least for me. So I totally agree on that.
No, that's absolutely.
You were talking about some people that you were right, that have influenced you, like Frank Sinatra, Amy Winehouse, and so on. And you've pulled a name that I'm really a big fan of him. It's Teddy Swims. I know that you've been touring with him, right?
Yes.
What the fuck? How did you do that? How do you know? I want to know the story behind the... Just wait. Before doing that, I want to play one of his favorite songs, my favorite song, sorry, which is Lose Control. This guy is just crazy. And for those of you that do not know him, I just want... This guy has this flow and this cracked voice that's just punching on. Out of my mind, how many times did I tell you I'm no good at being alone? Yeah, it's taking a toll on me, trying my best to keep from tearing the skin off my bones. Don't you know I lose control? So, guys, you need to follow him too if you don't know him.
Yes.
And you've been playing with him. You've been touring. How this happened?
So, in 2020, no, in 20. Oh wow, in 2019. 2019, yeah. In 2019, one day I was sitting here. And on my YouTube recommended came up a video of Can't Make Me Love You, a cover by Teddy Swims. And this is the first time I ever had heard of Teddy. And I see this video. I see the thumbnail. It's a guy with a beard, face tattoos. This guy looks like he's going to sing this song, really? So I was like, man, it had like a good amount of views, so I was like all right, let's see what it is. And I remember basically playing that video and him sounding like better than I could ever imagine, right? Like, oh, I wouldn't have ever expected this guy to sound like this. And basically instantly from then I was like, I need to reach out to this guy. Let me try contacting him. So I went to Instagram, and at that point, I believe I had a bit more of a following than Teddy. It was like the beginning. I think it was like one of his second YouTube videos. It was just when he had started like trying this new voice, new kind of persona. And I had sent him this message. I'm actually going to try to pull it up quick, just
Nice.
because I think the story is really funny. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I sent him a DM October 5th of 2019.
Nice.
Said, "Hey man, you sound absolutely incredible. Please let me know if you ever want sax on anything." October 8th, 3 days later, "Hell yes, can I send you stuff to lay it on? Need it bad all the time, actually." Said, "Of course, send me some tracks." He said, "You're right on time, my man." I said, "Can't wait, looking forward to it." So then on the 9th, he sends me this message, which shows two things. So I'll read it first and then I'll explain. He said, "So get this. We're working on this song and I'm about to put some vocals on it and send it to you to put some sax on it. And I told my bassist I got this amazing sax player that I want to get on it that hit me up yesterday. And he, no shit, said, you should reach out to this guy, and pulled up a video of you on Instagram." And I was like, what? That is literally the guy I'm talking to. So it was this perfect moment of like me believing and loving him and his project, and his band going, whoever you're talking to, don't just stop. Use this guy, because I was pushing really hard on Instagram. So this was reaffirming that like there are people noticing you and appreciating every piece of content you do. There's times where like I post a video, especially recently, like I post these videos that I care about, I worked hard on them, and they're not crushing like they used to from a numbers game, but every person is still a person. They're still enjoying what you're doing, and they're still being reminded of you. So basically, I recorded for this song, and then basically beyond then, long story short, recorded for him. Then we hung out in New York. We played at a bunch of jam sessions. He had a bunch of. It was his first time going on an airplane
Oh, wow.
and coming to New York.
Nice.
Was October of 2019.
Nice.
So I met him in the city, and I basically was like, these are all the fun things we can do. And we went to jam sessions, and he had meetings with all these labels, because at that point these YouTube videos were like taking
skyrocketing
off. And then basically I recorded for a bunch of his songs for his first EP. So and for his Christmas, a lot of people don't know this, but he has a Christmas EP, and Silent Night, I have like a pretty lengthy sax solo in it.
I know. It's very nice. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And basically, so I recorded for a bunch of his things, and then unfortunately, in September of 2020, so during the middle of the pandemic. Oh no, after hanging out, recording for this song, he lands a record deal, goes to LA to start recording. They put, and he says, "Hey, come out to LA. Like, we'll do some writing sessions. Like, let's do this thing, you know." So I went to LA, March 15th of 2020. Ooh. I fly to LA. Yeah. So I was supposed to be there like 2 weeks. We were supposed to do all these writing sessions. March 15th, we land, and it's like LA is silent. It's like I remember landing and being like, this is no good. So we had fun for like 2 days, and then like panic set in, because we were hearing like a friend of a friend says that they're going to close the airports and no one's going to be able to fly anywhere. And I'm like, damn, if this is bad, I have to get my ass on the first flight and get out of here. I do not want to be stuck in LA. So I think I was there for 2 days, and then everyone evacuated. Like they flew home, but they drove a bunch of stuff back to Atlanta. And we basically, like, I did some more recordings for his EP and his upcoming projects. And then my first time performing with Teddy, for him, unfortunately, his piano player and his musical director passed away in September of 2020. He had, believe, a kidney disease. Such a good guy, incredible musician, left behind a wife and 4 kids. And so that was Teddy's like best friend. So it was a really tough moment for him, and he basically, as soon as I heard the news, I called them up and was like, if there's any way I can help with anything, let me know. And they got back to me and said, you know what, we're doing this benefit concert for Christoph's family because those kids, you know, we want to set them up to be able to go through college, and his wife, we want to help out. So if you could play this concert, let us know, just let us know what the flight is, blah, blah. And I said in that moment, don't worry about the flight. I'll stay with Christian, or the bass player. I'll stay with him, and like, don't worry about any costs. Whatever you would have paid for the flight, put it towards the family.
Nice.
So I did that show. We did a live stream concert. This was like the middle of COVID though, because I remember my parents being like a little bit, like September of 2020. There's no vaccines. So I went to Atlanta for like a week. We did this whole big live stream, and then after then, I did a couple of video shoots for the music that I had recorded back in the studio, and we did like a Bud Light live stream concert together. And then this opportunity came in for Teddy to open for the Zac Brown band.
Amazing, yeah.
During the summer, which was like one of the greatest experiences. It was super, super fun. We were doing all these festivals. We were doing all these stadiums that were like, we played, at least at the time, we played Fenway Park for its record most sold tickets, which was like 40,000 people. So it was like this crazy experience. It was so crazy. And Teddy, on the songs, you know, there's a lot of these pop guys who you see a lot of, I would say you see a lot of these big pop stars who they have horns, they have maybe strings, they have background singers on their thing, but those parts of the performance and those people are so removed from the top front guy, where like at the end of the night, he gets off stage, he goes to his bus. I don't even know the guy.
Yeah.
But Teddy is the complete opposite. We're on the same bus. He says, "Oh, there's a space there. You take a solo. You play your thing."
Nice.
Like, and I have these extended long solos. He like really valued every single person on that bus and on the road. So we did that, and then in September we did these 2 festivals back to back. That was like 2 festivals in 24 hours. One in Atlanta and one in Las Vegas. So that was miserable, but it was fun.
Nice.
And then basically beyond that, his next tour after then, he basically there's one very real thing, which, you know, not a lot of people talk about. If you are on budget cuts and restrictions, and you know, you need a guitarist, you need a piano player, you need your drummer, you need your bass.
It's a lot of money.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So when it comes down to it, basically after the Zac Brown and the festivals, there's talk of having me on the next tour, but I believe that they needed crew people and that the bus could not hold.
Yeah.
Like, who's the first person that we love and care about, but isn't essential to this project? Listen, is it the frosting on top and a little bit of glitter? Sure, but you'll still enjoy a cupcake without
Yeah.
sprinkles.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sprinkles are just like exciting and nice. So that tour I didn't do, and then we've still always been, really close. Whenever he's in town, we hang out. And I'm really happy for him because he's someone who has, I mean, for 5 years, he is, and beyond that, but 5 years in the kind of in some sort of light, he's been pushing forward this project, and he's had to really change people's view on him as like cover guy. Like, oh, Teddy, you're amazing. Can you do this song? Like, it's hard to break from that and be like, this is my passion and project, and for you to believe in that. And he's finally gotten to that stage where like people see him as an artist and not a cover artist, because there's a distinction. So yeah, that's basically the whole story with Teddy. He's crushing it, and he works really hard, and I'm happy for him.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have many more questions for you, but we have been talking for more than an hour already. So
Yeah,
I
know.
I think we will need a second interview podcast, but whatever. I just want to know what are the next. What are you doing right now? What are you what are you cooking? What are your next projects that people want to know?
Yeah. So right now I am working on an album or an EP with my good friend. His name is Jordan Cohen, and he's produced music for just about everyone. The Jonas Brothers, Tori Kelly.
Wow.
Like he is actually the saxophone player. You should check him out too. He's a great person actually to interview. But he's the saxophone player and producer and songwriter with Lawrence, the band, which they've been doing really, really well. So anyway, so I'm working on an album with him. I'm not sure if I can. Well, I think I can mention it. I'm right now filming for a documentary with a company that hopefully will land on Netflix or HBO Max.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a weird, at like a good stage, but it's all very new to me because I'm trying to kind of put that documentary I'm trying to combine with this music that I'm working on that I really care about, and trying to figure out like a release that would coincide hopefully with that documentary. So I'm working on finishing music. I'm working on promoting a couple upcoming singles, and then recording this big project, which fingers crossed, hope it does well, and hope it lands where it should. And those are like the main
concerts. Any concerts where people can come and see?
I just did a concert a couple of weeks ago, and in my head I had so much fun, but I was like, I am going to stop playing concerts for a little bit. Just because like unless I travel, unless I leave New York, like you can't keep hitting the same city. And you got your same audience. So I'm hoping in a little bit I'm gonna drop some music and then do the major cities.
You need to come to Europe.
I know.
Have you been to Europe before?
I have been to Europe, but not as like my own act and performer.
Okay.
I've done I did a tour a long time ago in Europe on the clarinet, actually.
Oh wow! Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have one of my goals in life is creating also a saxophone festival, which I'll do.
Yes.
So I'll call you, okay? And you come and play.
You let me know.
Here
Yes,
in Barcelona. There's no saxophone
I would
festival
love to.
in Barcelona, so I don't really understand. So we need to do it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. You let me know when.
Of course, of course. Great, Doggy. So thank you so much for your time.
Of
It's been
course.
a pleasure meeting you. It's very interesting because I normally interview people that I know. So then
Yeah.
I ask them questions, maybe for the second time, because I asked them first time and I said, oh wow, I need to interview this guy so I can share
Yes.
this knowledge that I have
Uh-huh.
now. But in your
Of
case
course.
was like first question ever, you know. So I was
Uh-huh.
learning in the podcast. It was completely live performance here,
Ah.
so
Well,
it
thank
was
you again
very
so much
nice.
for
Yeah,
thank you for having me, and thank you for bearing
nice.
with me with the emails and figuring out a time. That's also something I need to work on,
It's
clearly.
okay.
So
It's okay.
thank you.